And we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oregon Fan Show, the place where we talk with Duck fans and college football experts about the things that make us want to shout. Our guests today include B-Stro from Dallas, Texas, and Gary Thompson from the Oregon fan community. I'm going to turn it over to B-Stro, who will be the host of this live stream, talking about week 0. And all right. Hi, Kurt. Good morning. Great to see you. B-Stro was in and now he's out, and he'll be back soon. But so far, it's us. We'll be talking about week 0 in college football and Oregon's game just ahead with Boise State in Autzen Stadium this Saturday at 12:30 on CBS.
Can't wait.
It should be a great ball.
So ready for that. So ready for to be back in the stadium on Saturday.
It was a long doggone wait, and now we're on the verge of what could be the most exciting season in Oregon football history. The Ducks are ranked number 2 in the AP poll, and many people, Joel Klatt, J.D. Piquel, a lot of national experts are saying this is the most talented team in college football. What do you guys think? What are you looking forward to with Boise State just 6 days away?
Do you want to go first, Gary?
No, I'll let you go first, Kurt.
I just can't wait. I love the fact that how deep our squad is, and it's always like get up, like get a good lead, and then bring in the backups and watch that lead disappear, especially on defense. And I just don't see that happening this year. You saw it with USC yesterday. They were looking great, and then they brought the backups in, and oops.
Well,
so no letdown.
I would agree, but we've had a historical issue with Boise State, so we can't take them lightly ever. So, let's not worry about getting the backups done. But I agree, we don't want to let up at all. Just keep the foot to the throat as or pedal to the metal, however you want to say it.
BTA. Is this a PG show?
Yeah, there you
go. It's not. On this show, we just let it roll. When I check the box, whenever I post stuff, I say, they always ask, is this for kids? And I always check, no, it's not for kids. This is a grown-up show, grown-up fans where people speak their minds. And that's
I want to see some belt to ass, Dale. I do. I don't,
especially against Boise, right? Like, I mean, if you look at our history, right? Baladia was 0-1, Chip was 0-1, Cristobal was 0-1. Lanning is luckily 1-0, but that was a 3-point victory. So we really actually need to take it to Boise.
Boise State doesn't have Mr. Genty on the sideline.
Agreed, but Madsen last year, or the last few years, has been really good. So I would be worried, always be worried about Boise. Don't take them for granted.
Yeah, I kind of am. If Oregon's as good as what everybody's saying, all the rat poison that's flying around, if Oregon's half as good as what's being said, they should absolutely throttle Boise State.
I would agree. And you were right. The last time that Lanning played them, they did have, the number 1 running back who was an NFL running back. So he really took it to us. So, yeah, I would agree. So I feel like this is at least a 21-point win, but I don't take that team lightly at all.
I rewatched that Boise State game the other day because I remember being in the stands just going like, dear God, we had that guy stopped. We had him stopped, and then he just 16 times that we had him hit behind the line of scrimmage, and he got positive yardage.
What is it? One of the first times that we allowed a 200-yard rusher in Autzen in a long time. So yeah, that was that was a different experience. But I'm still saying, like, all the other times Boise and our coaches, our teams were favored in all other 3, and we all fell flat. So I'm just saying we got to make sure that we don't fall flat, even if we expected that, and they don't have. And luckily, Lanning has never had a a bad loss like that to an unranked team. So
yeah, I don't think motivation's a problem that Dan has. Letting these guys rest on their laurels and stuff. I just think let's come out and let the defense just dominate from the get-go. Like, I want to see a 3-and-out. I would love to just see a 3-and-out and then us score.
Yeah, a couple of matchups that I'm looking forward to actually check it out would be how are our linebackers doing against their tight ends, right? So, we got newer linebackers in there to replace Betcher and stuff. What does that look like guarding their tight ends, because they play a tight end game really well at Boise? So I think, or are we going to come down and put our star or nickel corner on the tight end in those situations?
I got you, but there's something more important to say here, and he's back. He's back.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? Hello, everybody. I appreciate y'all. It's great to see you all as well. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's something about me trying to use my iPad when I try to do these with Dale. For some reason, they don't want to cooperate. So here I am from my phone, but it's great to always hop on and talk Ducks with everybody. I know you guys were talking about the Boise State game. Like Gary mentioned, we've had that Boise State monkey on our back. Landing has helped us exercise some of those demons per se. We were able to beat Boise for the first time. It was a 3-point victory. This year, you're hoping that it's a different outcome. Their quarterback's been to Autzen before. They've got some guys that have played at other schools that have some experience that are wanting to come in and make an impact. And what a better way to do it against the number 2 team in the nation, the first weekend of college football. So we got to be ready for the kitchen sink to get unloaded. Everybody's ragging on USC. Don't get me wrong. From the standpoint of their stands to the gameplay, I think Lincoln was really trying to focus on being physical and establishing his run game for his quarterback. Because you establish a run game, and especially as an elite team in college football, it makes it easier for your quarterback to have windows to have those RPO throws. Although I'm not a fan of the RPO, it makes it easier for your offense when you have those windows for RPOs, play action passes, and you get your guys in space. Now, for us, we have the benefit of having one of the good recruiters in college football, Dan Lanning. The staff at Oregon is great at recruiting, and the guys are buying into it, to what Lanning is showing them. This is what we have to do to reach that pinnacle to be a national champion. And I expect this game on Saturday to be something. It's going to be something special, man. It's just, that excitement. It's the first week, official week 1 of college football. Oregon's facing the potential playoff opponent again. People want to say we're playing Boise State, but hey, Boise State made the college football playoffs.
Yep.
They had a running back that went first round. GT is a beast. And it's hard to say, like Kurt mentioned earlier, it was numerous times we had him stopped in the backfield, but he keeps his legs going. And that's how you know that's an elite running back, because their legs don't stop going. And it's week 1. So, it's a lot of dust and rust you got to get off, and a lot of things you got in a game experience for the first time. So it's going to be kind of like a deer in the headlights. That's the benefit of having those guys who've played 3 years and 4 years, is they're past that first game jitter, because, okay, I've played in Austin for 2 first games. So now I know what it's like to run out, and we're playing a quality opponent. So let's hit the ground running.
Absolutely.
It's go ahead.
Oh, I just said absolutely. I mean, can't wait. All the freshman talent and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But hey, can we jump into week 0 for a second?
Oh yeah, let's go back to week 0, especially that USC game. Right, I have a few.
I mean, before we get into the USC, the 12 people who went to the game, what did y'all think about Mr. Prubilla at Virginia?
So
go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
I was really impressed about Virginia's defense. I mean, I knew they were good on defense. I was really impressed with their defense, and they really bottled CJ Bailey. That was like the thing that stood out. Prabilla was awesome. The part where they're up by 3 scores and you're still running him, that's the issue I have. He got hurt at Missouri when he was doing amazing. I would be very worried if if you're going to continue to do that at Virginia, being up multiple scores when you have that defense. Like if you have that defense, you're up 2 scores. Don't run the quarterback in, or bring the backup
100%.
in and run him. But
100%.
I was actually impressed by his 2 large passes, like
Mm-hmm.
actually uncorking his arm and making those. But when you're running the ball for 100 yards as a quarterback, you do a play action, somebody's going to be open.
Yeah, Penn State screwed up by losing that kid.
Well, I mean, that whole Penn State situation, he was going to leave anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
you
They
know,
only keep one of Aller or Fribble.
Yeah.
and I mean, I think we're finally seeing Aller's talents in the NFL because he's had some amazing passes, but it's hard, especially in the college and especially in this day and age because you have the instant gratification. That's why for Oregon to have the Dante Moore come wanting to sit behind Dylan Gabriel, the Dylan Raiola wanting to come sit behind Dante Moore. That's not often that you're seeing kids that go there. I want to say, yo, I want to go sit for a year, learn the offense, learn how to read the defense, learn how to do post snaps. What am I looking for in the playbook? What weapons do I have? You don't have that many guys doing that. A lot of guys are wanting to go play and play now. And
Right.
so when you had the Nick Saban at Bama, yeah, he had a couple guys that hit the portal, but it wasn't 20 guys, 30 guys. He had maybe 5 to 10 guys hit the portal. Some schools has got 20 guys leaving, and it's like, okay, you left because you weren't playing, but you knew you were going to go sit behind a couple of seniors, a junior and a sophomore, and you could develop at your position and also say, Coach, I'm willing to learn other positions. That way I am more of a weapon to the team. That way I'm more of an asset to the team. That way I can get myself on the field and help the team out in any way possible. Hence, that's why we have a player like Nazir White who can play D-line as far as the edge and then line up at linebacker and get sent up the middle for a blitz. You have that type of diversity to your defense. He brings that Michael Parsons to your defense because he can line up on the edge or he can line up at linebacker, and you don't know what he's going to do. On top of you have Mateo and you have Tuioti. So when you have that ability for guys that are wanting to sit, develop, and learn in that first year and a half, use spring ball, develop your body, because a lot of these kids, again, have been playing football since they were 5, 6, 7 years old. When have we ever really if they're playing that young, when have they really ever had a chance to let their bodies have a rest?
Dude, look at Elijah Rushing, his growth in the past year.
Exactly. So when you have the ability,
junior.
exactly. So when you have that ability to say, okay, I don't have to worry about playing the game, but I can still learn. I can still go hard in practice and get better at what I need to get better at. And then on top of that, develop my body to where I'm bigger and it fits me to where I can be able to sustain for 16, 17, 18 game season and be perfectly fine. Instead of trying to go out there your freshman year and now you're wearing and tearing your body already because you're trying to, develop your body to keep up with the players that are already in college years before you, and you just got there. Some can sustain that.
Physical strength and the way your body is from 17, 18 to 22, 23.
Exactly.
Different.
So why not redshirt for that 1 year? You're still going to get NIL. You're still going to be able to get your money. You're still going to be able to go to school. You're going to still be able to go to the weight room. The weight room is going to be the biggest benefit. The weight room and the speed coach. Those should be in the athletic trainers. Those should be your 3 best friends if you are smart enough to redshirt your freshman year. Why? Because you'll be able to.
With 5 for 5 now, you don't have to worry about red shirts.
Yeah,
yep.
But still, even taking that 1 year off to let your body heal, especially if you played since you were 5, 7 years old. Some of these dudes got nagging injuries that they've had since they were 13 years old that they've never really had the chance to let fully heal. So if you take that 1 year, you've got your D1 athlete and you have some of the best athletic training facilities at your disposal just to wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go to the athletic trainers and get taped up, do some running in the pool, go get stretched out, get some recovery, and then go hit the weights with the strength and conditioning coach. And the thing is, you don't have to go in there and lift max. You just got to go in there and say, I want to tone and I want to add about another 20 pounds of weight, but it's muscle. And then I can still go run with the speed coach and still have my speed. And then that next year, they don't know what I could be. I know I'm training. And then when I hit that field, it's a totally different person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you have the anomalies, you have the Percy Harvins, you have the Corian Moores, you have the Julio Jones, and some of those guys that can play as freshmen. That's because they're physically gifted like that. Don't get me wrong. You're a Division 1 athlete. You're gifted enough to make it to that level. At
Yeah,
the same
they're
time,
the exception though. They're not the rule. The rule
ex-
is you need to sit down and learn.
develop your
Mhm.
learn the playbook, learn the ins and out of the playbook, learn your position in another position. Why not know two positions? That way, if something happens over here and you don't have a guy that can handle it or a guy that doesn't know the playbook, hey, coach, I know the position. Can you run it? Yeah, I can run it. Boom. Now I'm playing right guard, even though I line up at left tackle as second string.
Yep.
That's why you have 8, 9 guys on the offensive line that you can rotate because you can move one from left guard to right tackle, from right tackle to center, from center to left guard to left tackle. They have that ability to be a Swiss Army knife.
Yep.
And so when you have that on the offense and you have that on the defense, how can a team really scout you? Because at any given point in time, we can line up in the trips formation and it's DeCorian, Evan, and Jeremiah McClellan. And then when it comes game time, now it's Iverson Hooks, Jeremiah, and Bear Gatlin or Gatlin Bear. It's not the 3 dudes that we saw in the film. It's these 3 dudes, and they do the same thing, or they do something totally different, and you're not prepared for Gatlin Bear to take off with 4.3, 4.2 speed on a freaking skinny post, and you have no safety coverage.
Right.
So that's where the coaching in the schematics of playbooks and putting your players in position to make plays. We can line up in the formation where we had not Decorian, but we had Sadiq and Jeremiah both split out as receivers, in one play, and the next play they're both lined up as actual tight ends because they're actual tight ends. We could do that in a no-huddle situation because not the diversity, but the ability to be diverse at their skills. We can use them as receivers and tight ends. We can use them as blockers. We can split them out, which means your linebackers or safeties are going to either be in a mismatch or they're going to be able to match up. But it's going to depend on your defensive play calling ability as well.
Yeah, I mean, because normally defensive plays would look at 12 personnel and be like, oh, I'm bringing in an extra linebacker and not a cornerback because I got 12 personnel. I got to guard against the run. So
exactly. So
B-Stro, you made a point there about the freshmen and the needing to learn and develop. USC. Amazing freshman class. I mean, they were just loaded. They threw the Brinks truck at it. And so they've got a ton of talent. But like their schedule, they San Jose State, okay, yawn. Then who do they play next? It's
Fresno State Friday.
Fresno State. And then they played Louisiana. And then they've got arguably the worst team in the Big Ten, Rutgers. And then they get punched in the mouth by Oregon.
They play Rutgers before they play us?
I thought.
What's that?
They play Rutgers before they play us?
Week 3, the 19th, Rutgers.
Oh, okay. They got 4 games before? Okay. I missed that.
Because they play week 0. So they'll have 4 games under their belt by the time they play.
That's right.
But the 4 teams they've played are just like.
Well, you got to between Fresno and Boise, they're the 2 teams that are, try to, pick to win the Pac-12, right? So, don't necessarily they're going to be a group of 5 champion, one of those 2. So I think Fresno was going to give them a little bit more than what San Jose State did. But
Fresno's known for being a thorn in some team's side. We've seen that because we faced DeBoer and Jake Hayner, Fresno State team. The Fresno State that Reggie Bush had the 500-yard game against was still considered a tough team. That's part of why people highly regarded that 500-yard performance because Fresno State they were never just chumps. It's the dynamic of which Fresno State team shows up.
Right.
Because they can compete with the best of them and then they can, lay down and get trounced. We just don't know. Now, they've been able to make some moves in the portal like every other Division I, football program has been able to. So I'm sure they've acquired some talent. It's just about situational awareness of the players and the coaches, especially in key situations. And you're going into a game outmanned because you're facing, of course, USC and the highly touted recruiting class that they brought in. Now, hitting at the freshman for you, Kurt, it's all about how Lincoln and his staff are going about the approach to development. Of course, what you discussed, because this is where those discussions, especially on the recruiting trail, and those promises that coaches make behind closed doors. We're going to get you playing time as a freshman. Okay, win, coach. Especially in the first 4 games when we're facing these squads, you know, it's going to be beneficial for them to get up big in these games, bigger than what they got up against San Jose State, because you want to get those younger guys those reps, because you want to be able to mix those guys in. One, because you don't know when the injury can happen, because the injury is going to happen. It's football, and it's damn near 18-game season in college now. So you have to be able to have the depth, and you've paid for the depth. So you have to get them that experience. Now, the benefit and the difference between us and Lincoln is they started 5 freshmen. We may start 4 or 5 freshmen. Now, as far as rotational wise goes, Lanning's looking at rotating the younger guys in early. He's putting those guys into play early. He said, if you're good enough, you're old enough to play.
Yep.
So when you go and you get, a Jet Washington, you go get a Devin Benjamin to come play in the secondary, and they're already, practicing and making impacts in practice, and they're contributing, and the coaches are already acknowledging that and saying, hey, they're going to have an ability to play early. They've done what they're supposed to do. They've came into practices and they've learned the playbook, and they've lined up and they said, hey, we're going to come out here and we're going to challenge the upperclassmen. And you still have the benefit of the upperclassmen. And our upperclassmen just happen to be sophomore corners for the most part. When you got Finney and you've got
Iffy,
Alford and Iffy, and so when you got those type of corners, that sophomores on top of these freshmen, on top of some guys that transferred in, like Scott. I've been hearing Scott's been making some strides. The guy from Baylor's been making some strides. So you have that, and you're mixing all of those guys in, and they're all able to compete, and they're all able to communicate and be on the same page. It's wonders for your defense, because all I need you to do is give me 3 plays. Give me 3 plays. That's a 3 and out. The entire defense, give me 3 plays. If you can give me 3 hard plays and they get a first down, I can't complain. Rotate. Next 3 in, or next whoever else in, rotate. Fresh legs. You know the assignment. You not gonna let up. It's not no let off in this attack, and it's relentless every play. We don't have to worry about it ever being an issue.
I mean, this is one of the deepest, secondaries I can ever remember at Oregon. Like we've had top end, but the depth and stuff. I mean, I'm so excited to see Trey McNutt out there finally and stuff after being hurt for all of last year. They're and Jet. Yes, I'm super excited in Jet and everybody to be starting there over. The guy transferred from Baylor, Carl something. I can't think of his last name. But yeah, it's just amazing the depth that we have at all these positions in that secondary, and why I think Chris Hampton was the right call to be the DC, because he's looking at all these pieces and he brought all these pieces in. So I'm excited for that part.
The other thing too, like Oregon, Dan Lanning is a defensive coach. I mean, he's the guy. Yeah, he's going to have a defensive coordinator, but he's the guy.
I agree with that, but I think Chris is, with his defense at Tulane, they were awesome at Tulane. He's going to have some wrinkles that wasn't necessarily in there from Lanning's concepts, and we can have some different items and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Lanning, I think he's trying to probably let Chris, take control of it.
This is the way that I have seen it for a minute, as far as offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and coaches. The head coach has a philosophy. The head coach says, hey, I want to run the ball 60% of the time. Now, you have guys like Sark, Lane, Dilly, Chip Kelly. They all have their different ways of how they run their offense, whether it be spread, some under center, I formation, pistol, wishbone, all these different aspects they have in their mind. My goal is to establish either the run, establish the pass, keep it balanced, keep the defense off balance. How do I use these formations to my benefit? especially if I'm an offensive-minded coach. A head coach like Mario Cristobal, I want to run the damn ball. Now, we going to pass it, but at the same time, this is what we run it. This is how I want to run it. We going to run it this way. You going to get that from Sark and Lane because that's their offense. They're running that entire offense. They're calling offensive plays. Mario Cristobal is not really calling offensive plays. Now, the Dan Lanning coaching staff is a little bit different because we hear all of the coaches talking in the headset. Hey, coach, let's call this. Okay, I like that. Let's run this. Okay, let's do that. Now, Lanning, of course, is saying, hey, Hampton, I want to run this type of defense. I like this as far as my defensive line. I want them slanting. I want them clogging gaps. I want this. I want that. I want this, that, and the others. So Lanning gives Hampton pretty much the ingredients of what he wants and tells Hampton to make him a dish. And tells Hampton to put it in the oven, cook it, and make it taste good.
You know who can't cook anything to taste good?
Who's that?
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley. His brisket is burnt ass.
Dude, let's not talk about dry paper towel brisket right now. It's Sunday. Okay.
Dude, so here's the thing. I watched that game yesterday and them coming out of the state, with like the 14 people behind it, you know, and looking at the stands going, yeah, it's a good thing they're those red seats because they're empty. And everybody's like, oh, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. And I'm thinking, I look back, 2005, San Jose State played at the Coliseum in preseason. It was the end of August. It's 102 degrees.
Packed.
There were 87,000 people there.
Yeah, packed.
Yeah, but you got multiple Heisman, potential.
But you got 14 million people in the city of LA.
You had Reggie Bush. You had Matt Leinart. You had the linebackers.
Yeah. And you had Pete Carroll bringing, even to that game, he had people bringing celebrities on the thing. So they're like, oh, I'm going to show up just to take pictures of celebrities and stuff like that. So
this is the thing for Lincoln Riley. He has to earn all of that back. Yeah. He's got to earn that back, and he's got to put himself out there to earn that back.
Because they're going to be in a lot of shootouts again this year.
Well, I mean, of course, because it's Lincoln Riley. This is what people don't understand when I say this about Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley is from the Mike Leach tree. Name a Mike Leach top 25 defense. Name a Lincoln Riley top 25 defense. Name a defense where the offense is a primarily air raid type of offense where they've had a top 25 defense.
Let me answer that question. What is never B-Stro?
Exactly. Now, the closest you had to it was LSU, but LSU had a running back that went for 1,000 yards. They had 2 receivers that went first round. Quarterback went first round. Half the damn team went first round from the LSU squad. That's the closest you've had to a pass-happy offense that won a national championship, and the defense was in the top 25. Now, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, they can run the ball on anybody until they face a team that forces them to, hey, you got to come up with something other than this.
Yep.
When they face a LSU, when they face a Bama, luckily for them, when they faced Georgia wasn't at the pinnacle of being Georgia yet.
They had Baker trying to actually
Baker in the Rose Bowl. That Rose Bowl was a great game, but Georgia hadn't really started being Georgia yet, Yeah. So that was a benefit for Lincoln in that one. But the other ones after that, Lincoln team got pushed around. He's got bullied. So him leaving Oklahoma, going to USC, Lincoln, you have to understand the Big Ten plays defense too. You have to play play defense in the Big Ten. You're facing Ohio State. You're facing Michigan. You're facing Penn State. You're going to get another team out of the blue that it's a random team. Sometimes, if Wisconsin's hitting right, Wisconsin's there. Michigan State, when they're hitting right. Somebody else in the Big Ten is going to give you a problem. But now you've added Washington, Oregon, UCLA, USC. So somebody from those 4 is going to be just as good in the Big Ten with the other teams that have been good in the Big Ten.
One of the aspects that I think from that is also like in the first half they controlled everything. They ran the ball 25 times, the most ever Lincoln Riley's ever run the ball in the first half, right?
Exactly.
So, but that third quarter, it felt like they came out flat on that third quarter, and it felt like, oh, we need to get Maeva some stats because his stats don't look great, aside from less than 200 yards. So we're going to throw the ball a bit more. And then they had a 3 and out and let them go down and score. And then they, looked a little bit clunky. It felt like he got too far into his head of like, I need to make sure Maeva is a Heisman candidate and get some numbers before I take him out. So
this is the crazy part for me. Is I already knew Lincoln was going to try to establish a run because Lincoln's teams, when he's at Oklahoma, he had what's the Samaje Perine.
Perine, yeah.
He's had some physical running backs where they could run the ball 30 times. He'll run it. He has no problem running it. It's finding the balance, staying balanced. He'll say, okay, I'm going to run the ball 40 times this game. Okay, he ran the ball 40 times this game. Oh, I'm going to throw the ball 45 times. He's throwing the ball 45 times this game. Okay, that's what the defense is giving you. That's fine and dandy. But find the balance to keep them off balance.
Yeah.
And so running the ball 25 times in the first half, that's perfectly fine if you're coming out saying, look, we're just going to run the ball this year. I'm not even worried about throwing it. We're going to run the ball. At the same time, he could have come out.
It was average for 4. I mean, they weren't explosive runs. They were like 4 to 5 yards carries, some 7, 8 yards and stuff.
Yeah, their longest run was 11 yards.
Yeah, but it was still 4.5. I think 4.5 yards per carry for the first half. 3 runs, that's a first down every time. Like, okay, just I'm not mad at that, especially against San Jose State. But
it's also him probably trying to figure out his offensive line. At the same time, they had some injuries on the offensive line. So he's trying to find out what works. Okay, so instead of me just sitting here trying to get my quarterback teed off on, which I don't need to do in game 1, especially in week 0 against San Jose State, we just come out and run the ball and see who can move the line and who can give me some push, and we can get the run game established. Now, I would have ran it maybe 15 to 20 times in the first half. Use them other 5 attempts. Yeah, throw the ball 5 more times. That's a couple more play action passes, a couple deep shots. At the same time, he may not have wanted to, open his playbook all the way, and he might have been a little vanilla, as people say some teams do in the beginning of the season with their playbook calling. So we're gonna find out this week when they play Fresno State. He's gonna have to do something because he can't just be vanilla against them. But yeah, the USC situation is a little bit weird because it's in his 5th year that they finally invested in the recruiting class to get those type of players, especially as freshmen. So the next thing for USC is, what do you do if Lincoln Riley doesn't get 10 wins? Are you going to be patient? Or are you going to pray to the football guys that there's a lot of teams that has 9 wins and nobody has 12 or 13 wins? Like, because it's 5th year and especially now, again, everybody wants it now. Nobody wants to build and develop anything. Again, Indiana found lightning in a bottle with Signetti. He built that shit in 3 years. Excuse my French, but he built that in 3 years. It's taking some coaches that have won it in the last few years, 5 years or longer to win it, and they had to build it. Is USC going to be patient with Lincoln Riley for him to build it if he doesn't make the playoffs this year?
If he doesn't succeed this year,
he's still owed like
now.
He's still owed like $60 million after this year. Like
on that,
it's a lot.
That and then the risk of losing that entire or at least half of that freshman class you just brought in.
Right.
That's a lot of money lost. That's a lot of money that's going to set you back at USC that you already just had to beg and claw and scratch and cry to get the people to donate that money for you to be in the situation in the first place. You might have to sit. USC might have to sit this one. They might have to ride it again. Like, that's just beyond. They might end up riding it out one more year if he does not get 10 wins.
But you look at starting.
It depends on which ones their losses, though. Like if they're 9-3 and their 3 losses are Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State, I don't think anybody's gonna get too pissed at them. But if they have 5 losses and you lose to Washington and at Penn State, then yeah, I think people would be coming with pitchforks. But
that whiteout is a Matt Campbell special. That's going to be his first whiteout at Penn State, and he's already let me put it to you this way. He beat Mario in the New Year's Six-Day Bowl with Iowa State.
Yeah.
Their Iowa State team out physical Oregon. So he's going to be more physical than USC, and he's gonna have the talent to do so.
I mean,
You
granted,
look at
he
their
did have
schedule.
Brock Purdy during that time, so just throw that out there. But
Beck
you
is
look
not a
at their
bad quarterback.
schedule, though, they have They have what they go after they play Rutgers. They play Oregon. They play
Mhm.
Washington. They play Penn State. They play Wisconsin, which they should win easily. Then they play Ohio State. Then Indiana. Like, it's gonna be. That's a tough little run there, and I could see them lose. They're going to lose to Oregon. I'm just going to say it. We're going to beat them. They can lose to Washington. They could lose to Penn State.
Wisconsin is a wild card because they've been hyping up that quarterback that Wisconsin got because that was the quarterback that had the long run against Indiana last year from Old Dominion.
Yep.
So that quarterback can run. They're saying that he can launch the ball. So Wisconsin might try to come out with a more spread concept, and they're already physical because they like to punch you in the mouth. So I mean, honestly, again, other than Rutgers for USC, if they're not playing Northwestern, it's up in the air. But I'm being beneficial, and I'm saying Lincoln can get at least 8 wins. He should at least be able to get 8 wins. They're going to beat a couple teams that they should beat. They're also going to be the team that's ranked. Just don't know who it's going to be. Will it be Ohio State? Will it be IU? Will it be Oregon? I don't think so. Penn State could potentially be ranked in the whiteout, and they could pull that one off. But it's a lot to determine because you scored 42 points against San Jose State, and then you took your starters out, put in the backups. They gave up 26 points.
23. I think the starters still gave up the 3. So
yeah.
So and technically, I was still mad at San Jose State in the first half. You had a little bit of momentum. You should have kicked that field goal instead of going for 4th down. I like younger schools taking points and giving momentum. You reward your team. So
and that first interception that he threw at the goal line on the first drive, they were moving the ball just fine, and just got greedy.
Yeah.
So.
And that's another thing from that game. A lot of people have to understand the head coach from San Jose State. My man was the head coach at Navy a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And this man ran the triple option offense. He left Navy, went to San Jose State, and now runs an entire spread offense. If that does not tell you coaching adjustment changes, that man is underrated. That man could literally change. He could literally change college football and run 2 different offenses, and the team wouldn't know what hit him in the face.
Yeah. Hey, so another squad that.
Oh, sorry.
Another squad that I was like, what the hell did happen to you? UNLV. I thought they were going to be pretty damn solid, and they look like crap.
I don't know, man. Huff is a good coach. Huff is a good coach. He's been highly regarded since he left Penn State. He did a good job at Marshall. For some reason, Marshall didn't extend him. He left, went to Ole Miss, turned Ole Miss around. And now he's at Memphis, and they won their first road opener in years.
Mm-hmm.
So Memphis, they played in the New Year's Six Bowl in the last 10 years. They've been ranked in the top 25 consistent for the last at least 5-6 years. So,
I mean, UNLV had control of that game for most of the game, and they just couldn't execute when it was needed. They missed a field goal. They went for it on a 4th down instead of trying to kick a field goal, and then they they just couldn't execute in that second half. So Memphis went and took it in the second half. But I mean, UNLV, I felt, had that game for them, up through the 3rd quarter, and then it felt like just Memphis just took it over. So
yeah, and if you can't put the game away and you let the team hang around and that team has no give up and no die. Case in point, this past weekend high school football in Texas happened. South Lake Carroll was down 27-0 to Jinx, Oklahoma. They won the game 34-33. They were down 27-0 in the second quarter. 27-0 in the second quarter, and you won the game 34-33.
Wow.
You got a team on. You got to finish the game. You can't let them hang around.
Stanford up 21-0 at halftime.
Who?
Stanford.
I think they were.
They were up 21-0 and then had to come back to win it.
I thought Stanford was going to cougar for a minute there.
Yep.
You know, and they pulled that one out somehow. That was crazy.
Hawaii's quarterback
and then
is
they
nice,
covered,
man.
and then they get the fumble and they cover the point spread.
Yeah.
Hawaii is always kind of nice, man. It's always fun watching them play.
That quarterback is nice, man. That dude's. If he had more tangibles, he would be playing for somewhere not in Hawaii.
Like, he probably will next year.
Falling out of bounds, just chucking it with his left hand, and it's like, what is he doing? And I didn't even see that guy that he was throwing it to.
Yeah. That dude's a magician. Watching him last year, I was like, bro, this dude's a freshman. Yeah, he's got some skills.
Timmy over there knows good quarterback play. I mean, what he did back in his day. So
exactly, and I'm pretty sure he was cool with Colt. Like, that's one thing I can't say about some of these programs with their quarterbacks is they have like this closeness, and that's why when people talk about the quarterbacks at Oregon wearing the number 8 and nobody should wear it after Marcus wore it because of Jeremiah Masoli.
Yeah,
and Dylan Gabriel called them both. Dylan Raiola called them all. If they're calling them all and asking for permission and they're all backing them up wearing the number, my man, I'm all for it.
Dude, the culture.
Exactly. And
the culture is
with
awesome.
105 players, you can't really retire numbers and put them away because
it's hard now. They even brought the number 0 out. Like, we're wearing the number 0 now.
Yeah,
because there's so many players on the roster.
And then you have
my number
Daniels
0 Davison jersey is on its way. I'm super stoked to get my number 0 jersey.
And then you have Jaden Daniels all mad that LSU is letting somebody wear the number 5. Like,
that situation at LSU is and I'm a football fan, and people have to understand this about me. I've pretty much watched every conference since I've really dove into becoming a football fan in my early teenage years. And LSU for the longest have always gave their best defensive back the number 7. There's always a dude on the offense who has the number 18, or somebody on the team has a number 18. It's just these numbers are legendary and they pass them down through history. Now, the number 5, bro, you won a Heisman. Yes, I understand that. You didn't win a national championship. Joe Burrow's number's not. Joe Burrow didn't even have they retired. His jersey with his name on the back of it, yes, but somebody in your team is wearing the number 9 right now, and Joe Burrow ain't even crying about it.
Yeah, I like that we give the Hall of Fame, right? We make you in the Oregon Hall of Fame. Other call it the Ring of Honor or whatever, but we don't actually, end your number and just put it up and stuff. And LSU has had way more amazing players than what we have had in our past. The number 7, I think, goes back to the 40s, right? The guys in their Ring of Honor from the 40s, and it's this defensive player gets number 7. It's an honor, and it's so weird that the number 5 now is like, you're not honoring me. Okay, well.
And what did he have? 4 losses senior year?
Yeah.
A great stat.
Ridiculous stats
against the worst teams.
Yeah,
but also you got to look at who his head coach was.
Yeah,
that was not like the greatest achievement, dog. He made doo-doo smell like roses.
Hey,
because Brian Kelly is terrible, and I saw that man on TV last night, and that smile cringe. I ain't even listened to his voice. If I listened to his voice, I probably would have vomited. Because I can't. Ever since Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame, and he coached that national championship game in that national championship season, I could not stand him anymore. Me and my uncle.
Last night he didn't talk with the Texas.
As soon as you said that, B-Stro, though, it makes me want to listen to Outcast.
No, you're fine. It's just ever since that national championship run with Notre Dame the first time, I couldn't stand Brian Kelly. Because the dude, he takes some talent and he mismanages it, and it's freaking baffling. It's freaking baffling, especially at Notre Dame. You're getting elite talent, and you don't know how to handle a dual threat quarterback. You had an Everett Golson. Then you're running a dual quarterback to save the fact that you can't call offensive plays. And everybody's like, he's a defensive genius. This dude is not a defensive genius. This dude is an offensive-minded coach. This dude has coached offense at Grand Valley State. He coached offense at Central Michigan. He coached offense at Cincinnati. He coached the offense at Notre Dame. That's why this dude was always making them weird faces when his offense screwed up, because he's like, I called that play. Yeah, you did, you dumb son of a gun. And it looked terrible.
Hey, while we're talking about doo-doo and LSU, Jack Clyburn got cut by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now he said he's going back to play. I think that this whole thing with these kids leaving college, going into the draft, playing it on pro teams, getting signed, and then going back is, pardon my French, bullshit.
I mean, they have to have their roster set by Friday, right? So that's the big thing, is that Friday they have to have their. I think the hearing is Thursday. So LSU, I think the SEC and all the, they're going to say, oh, sure, you can add it. But the hearing is Thursday. I think hopefully it gets resolved.
And isn't
Thursday.
the hearing in Baton Rouge, Louisiana?
Yeah, but it doesn't preclude them from going and, already taking it to another court and countersuing them, right? I agree. This is totally ridiculous. There's a bunch of former players that have come out of saying, hey, once you declare, I love Dan coming out immediately and saying, once you've already gone there. I heard Kevin White on CBS talk about how, hey, this guy has been going in practice against Tristan Wirfs. You're telling me that he's going to come down and outplay against an SEC, tackle and stuff, that he doesn't already have some stuff he learned about how going against Tristan Wirfs. So it is BS. I understand that this 2022 class feels that they got screwed for the 5 for 5, but you're always going to have something that works in your favor. And they didn't make the announcement of that till June. Technically, you should have already been out of school in June when they made the announcement. So
for me, this is how I'm looking at it. You just spent the last 3 weeks learning, or last couple months learning NFL playbook, NFL terminology. You finna go from playing in the NFL with all these dudes and have to go to a college and think the season start this week. Some dudes just got to a team the last couple of days. How quick are you finna bond with your entire team? How quick are you finna learn that playbook?
Or the freshmen and freshman and sophomore that have to get kicked off the team since they have a 105.
And that's gonna make Captain Doodoo Lane look terrible. Why? Because all these freshmen that you recruited and all these players you went and got in the portal, now you finna tell them they gotta leave because you bringing in some dude that couldn't make an NFL roster. But now this dude that couldn't make the NFL roster finna come in and he can't learn your playbook. Now what? You just wasted a roster spot for 1 year. Now you look stupid. That's my whole thing, is people got to look at it from both sides. Yeah, he coming back for the NFL, and yeah, he was with the team, but at the same time, this dude got to come learn the playbook. And he's already behind one game. Then he's got to catch up to the whole terminology and how the team run and how the team do everything. And some of these dudes ain't always book smart.
No.
So, it's messed up. Yeah, it's happening at the same time. Until one of these dudes come back and win the Heisman Trophy, I'm not finna complain, because this dude could come back and fade into obscurity, and now he working at stop and go, he working at the sit go, he working at a gas station. We don't know. He could be playing semi-pro in the next couple years. I'm not saying I wish it on anybody, but I'm saying we can't yes, you have the right to be upset about it. Yes, you have the right to feel this way about it. I'm saying we shouldn't be going to, oh my goodness, they coming back, they finna do this. No. We don't know what they finna do. This dude could come back and be absolute dookie. Water. Dude, if the dude come back and make an impact, or if it's two dudes that come back and make an impact, that's 2 out of 100. If it was 100 out of 100 coming back making an impact, we got a problem. It's 2 dudes out of 100. Okay, you had 2 dudes come back and they made the best of the situation. It's 2 out of 100.
It's three now, but 3 NFL players. There's 2 or 3 former G League players that are trying it now. It's just a bleed through. So you need to cut it off to where you don't have.
But this also goes back to those head coaches. So when those head coaches going out recruiting you sit in my house, Hey, so what happened to the 3 players you brought from the NFL? What happened to the 3 key spots that they took?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
those are
the
who I feel sorry for,
that's
especially
that's
they
the
spent the last 3 months during the summer working on their body, learning the playbook, trying to get a roster spot, or trying to work on whatever they're being coached on to work on. They're there with the team,
yeah.
yeah.
But that's what you address. When Lane Kiffin comes sit in your house, when Kirby Smart sit in your house, and they done took an NFL player from an NFL team after they got cut, and they done brought that player to their team, and there's 3 spots that they done took. Ask their coach what happened to those 3 players spots they got taken. What happened to the 3 player spots they got taken?
Yeah.
Look me in my face and tell me what happened to the 3 players that was on your roster. That these 3 dudes that couldn't make an NFL roster came back to your squad. What happened to the 3 players on your squad that was already there? What happened?
At
And
some
tell me the
point,
truth.
yeah, at some point, the parents too, when they're getting recruited, they're going to be like, "What's
They
to
should
stop
al-
you from doing this to my kid?"
They should already be asking it. They should already have been asking it for years. That's the thing. It's a lot of
Used
these
car
parents get caught up in the
salesman,
glitz and glamour of my kid got a full ride, could get out of. Yeah, your kid could get out of here, but are you sending your kid to the right situation?
right? It's a used car salesman.
Why are you
That's
not
all it
sending?
is.
Why are you not sending your kid to the University of Kansas? Look at what Kansas has done behind their head coach Leopold for how many years now? They don't fix their entire football stadium. They done invested in uniforms. They done invested in the entire football program in Kansas behind this dude. I don't see nobody sending their kid to Kansas to play for him. But y'all sending all y'all kids to LSU to play for Lane Kiffin, and now somebody's son is finna lose their spot because he bringing in dudes that couldn't make an NFL roster.
Yep.
So explain to me why you want to keep sending your kids to Baton Rouge, but you want to send your kid to Lawrence, Kansas. You want to send your kid to Columbia, Missouri. You want to send your kid to Syracuse, New York. You want to send your kid to Tempe, Arizona. You want to send your kid to freaking UCLA. You want to send your kid to Nebraska. I wouldn't say Nebraska because I'm not a Matt Rule fan, but you want to send your kid to Baylor. You want to send your kid to not TCU either because they won't even allow their own city newspaper to cover them. But you not sending your kid to send your kid somewhere where it's not 500 5-stars going.
Yeah. Well,
Do you
speaking
want
of
your
TCU, though, like, what do you think of the game, the Week 0 TCU loss? Upset.
They already want him fired.
I mean, yeah. Again,
They
what
want Sonny
happened
Dykes fired.
with that reporter as well. I mean, that's ridiculous. But
Well,
um,
some of the information wasn't right, but at the same time, he still reported the same simple fact is the dude assaulted a teammate that ended in physical harm to where he's getting charged with assault.
yeah,
Like beat the hell out of him.
and
Yes.
that's what you're supposed to do as a reporter. You're supposed to try to find the information, find what's out there. I have no. That's yeah. But okay, before we go on to that part, what about the game though? Like, I have both times TCU lost this game because they didn't kick field goals. In a defensive game that is there, and they could have won that game 16-15 if they didn't go for those 4th down tries.
It's Sonny Dykes, and he's an offensive-minded coach.
Right, but he handed over the office now to an actual guy who's under center and not air raid, spread offense. It's now supposed to be a more pro style offense.
That dude, that his offensive coordinator is, first of all, that dude look like a former offensive lineman. So they let me know off top, this is an offensive lineman running this offense, bro. This is finna be the most vanilla offense I've ever seen. Because why? We went through that with who?
Yeah.
Mario. But Mario got it out of his mind that, hey, I have to let somebody else run my offense. But they have to understand I also want to be able to run the ball within my offense. And look what they did. So now, Sonny Dykes, he had to get rid of, well, I can't get rid of, but he had to let go of play calling. But he also had to go find somebody that fit his philosophy. Your philosophy has always been spread, Sonny Dykes. Now you're going to go, okay, he's having a Mac Brown moment without the national championship. Mac Brown won the national championship and then went back with Colt McCoy, and all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to have a football revelation epiphany. We're going pro-style offense. What? And after that, you never heard of a Texas quarterback going 1st round in how long? When the last time you seen a Texas quarterback go 1st round?
Vince Young?
It's young.
That was the last time. And what type of offense did they run with Vince Young? A primarily spread offense with a running read option emphasis.
which is why that whole Netflix story of him and Jeff Fisher, where it didn't quite mesh because he had to learn a pro style offense.
Well, that and Jeff Fisher is Jeff Fisher, man. Like that dude was like he was one. First of all, Vince Young went into a situation where it was three dudes wanting three different quarterbacks.
Sure.
The general manager wanted who did he want? Matt Leinart. You know,
He wanted Leinart. Yeah.
He wanted Leinart. Jeff Fisher wanted freaking Cutler, and the owner was like, "Oh, I just want to piss off that dude's wife, so give me Vince Young."
Yeah.
That dude said, I want to piss his wife off. Give me that guy. The other two was like, no, I want him, but I want him. But we got him. He beat both of them. He better than both of them. And y'all want them? First of all, as a head coach, that should mean you should be able to adjust your offense to the player you got. You're a coach. Sure. Adapt and adjust. Look, as much as people talk about Harbaugh that left Jim Harbaugh, that man was running a pro-style offense with pocket passing quarterbacks in Baltimore. Then that man got Lamar Jackson and changed his entire offense up and was still a consistent problem in the playoffs.
Yeah, John Harbaugh. Yeah, so
John Harbaugh. See, I can't.
Yeah. He went from Flacco, like the old, like premier, old huge guy, drop back passer. Like, oh, I'm taking Lamar and I'm gonna, have Greg Roman change his offense for Lamar. So yeah, he did. I mean, I agree. If you have a great player and stuff, you change your offense. I mean, Walsh and Seifert, when they switched over from Montana to Young, they switched their offense a bit. It still was West Coast, but they added some flair to it for Young. So like great coaches will take the talent that they have and adjust their offense to it. I mean, you look at like even back with Oregon, right? So with Chip, we had the spread offense stuff, but how many runs he ran when he was the OC with Masoli and the head coach with Masoli as the quarterback versus how many runs with Darren Thomas. Like Darren Thomas didn't run the ball nearly as much as Dixon or Masoli because Thomas was more of a passer, in that time. Which again, Darren Thomas is the most underrated Duck quarterback in history, but. Again, and then he gets Marcus, and he's like, okay, Marcus can run it a lot more than Thomas could, so he adds some of those same plays that we used to run back there. So, great coaches adjust to their players and stuff like that, and figure out, oh, we have two amazing tight ends. We're going to use 12 personnel more than we ever have for the Ducks in the last 15, 20 years. That we did in the last season with having Sadiq and Johnson on the field. Like great coaches look and try to find ways to get these players that are special on the field and coach them correctly.
And that's why I as much as I can't stand them, I give credit to Lincoln Riley, I give credit to Sark, I give credit to Lane because those guys will say, hey, this is my best player. I'm going to give my best player the ball in space. If I got to run swing screens, if I got to run the ball, if I got to run receiver screens, if I got to throw 7-yard hitches, if we got to run all these different things, they're going to get their dude the ball.
Like Mekhi Lemon last year. I mean, it was just like over and over and over and over.
Wow, Lemon was amazing on his route running. Though Mosley looked just like Lemon in some of those spots. I was like, is this just a carbon copy of Lemon? He looks like. I was like, or Amon-Ra, he looked very similar to both of those in running his routes.
But that's the consistency of the offense that Lincoln Riley's been calling because he's like, okay, I ran this route with Mekhi. He can run the same route as Mekhi in this play. Oh, he can run the same route as Jacoby too. We just ain't gonna show that yet.
Yeah,
it's just.
Hey, fellas, I got to bounce. Playing golf with the nephew.
So, have fun. Enjoy.
Great to talk with you guys this morning.
Always.
Look forward to hopefully doing it next Sunday.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. After a Ducks W.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks. Go Ducks.
Later, fellas.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, it's interesting. That's why I say for those guys who really focus on offense, they have to really go hone in. Like if I was Lincoln Riley, I would have went and got the defensive coordinator that Texas fired, which was the defensive coordinator at UW when they were competing for a playoff spot under Chris Peterson.
Yeah.
Like, that's a defensive coordinator. That dude's defense with that talent was good. He kept them in games. It was just what happened on the other side of the ball. You had the Quinn Ewers experiment, and now you have the Manning show. And both quarterbacks have been highly touted, recruited, got the amazing arm, this, that, and the other. But the offense has been, and that's your side of the ball. Your side of the ball, Mr. Offensive Genius, is your side of the ball. And you're not putting up those type of points in these type of games that you should be. But you fire the defensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator wasn't terrible. You had first round draft picks.
All up and down.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what happens now because you brought in Muschamp. Like Muschamp was gonna bring the secret recipe to you guys being, in the playoffs and winning the national championship. And if it doesn't work out in this year or next year, then what?
Especially if the defense is amazing and the offensive not, right? Do you like, oh, well, maybe we push out Sark and give it to Muschamp?
Has Muschamp learned from his stint at South Carolina and Florida?
Who knows? Yeah, that's a good point. But that's a good point.
Like those are some strange situations, man. Muschamp in Florida with Charlie Weiss was weird.
Hey, I have a question for you. So, so you're watching the game right on Saturday for the Ducks. What is your fit going to be like for the game? What do you rock on your game day watch?
I really don't have one, man. I just wake up and throw on some Oregon gear. Like I just put on a shirt and some shorts, and I'm just gone. Like I just don't really like. I've never been a fashion guy. Like I've never been, oh, I gotta have these shoes, or I gotta have these pants, or I gotta have this shirt. I'm like, bro, all right. I feel like wearing a jersey or a shirt today. We gonna wear a shirt. Now, if it's at work, I'll put on a jersey because everybody likes to wear their Cowboys jerseys. And then I see somebody, oh, that's an Eagles jersey. No, this is not an Eagles jersey. This is an Oregon Ducks jersey. The Eagles can't get wings like this, shouty. But no, man. I mean, of course, Ducks fans stay with the fly gear. The shoes, the shirts, the jerseys, the shorts. So everybody post their fits. I love it. My man AC, he's the one that always he started out doing the Duck fits back in 2018, 2019. AC Chapman, and he would tag me in the post, and other people would post their fits, and I'm like, dude, dope fits. Like, y'all got it, bro. I'm just over here in my Oregon t-shirt. Look, Oregon t-shirt and some shorts. I'm just chilling. Like, I'm just ready to watch the game and talk ball. Like, I'm simple when it comes to this. Like.
Okay. I just had to ask. I mean, I'm a big jersey guy, so I wear my jerseys for all the games. So
I know that, Gary.
Yeah.
I know that, Gary.
Yeah,
Come on now. Yeah. Come on, man. Look, we done hung out in Vegas and we done hung out in Eugene. I know this, Gary. Come on now, man. Oh man. But yeah, no, I mean, the only time I will adhere to a dress code is when I'm in Austin, because I don't want to start a whole issue of B-Stro wore the wrong colors, and now it's just all over Twitter, and now I got everybody hawking me because I wore the wrong colors. No, I'm wearing the right colors. I don't want no problems.
Yeah, we have a stripe out this week in Austin, so
I'm hoping it's going to be beautiful. Yeah, so man.
Students and the even numbers students and odd numbers are wearing green, and even numbers are wearing yellow. So I have to wear yellow. Those are one of my two jerseys I'm trying to decide for next week.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I got the number 5, but the Kayvon, it was Kayvon style, or the just the number 1, but it was the breast cancer. So I always love it when I get to wear that one, but also get to wear number 5. I mean, with Dante Moore's last year, it's like I got to pull it out. So.
Oh yeah, I mean it's hard to. I mean, you might have to take both. Switch at halftime. I'm just saying, can't go wrong with it. But yeah, man, you can't go wrong with either one. I say you might have to do a coin flip, or you might have to, have the little one do something for you and say, all right, so you get to pick or something, work it out.
Yeah.
Either way it go, you'll be fly.
I got my son, he's 8 now, so I got him a bunch of jerseys lined up, so he's get him excited about wearing his jerseys. So
Yeah, there you go. I still got my duck he gave me too, man. I got it in here somewhere. I think I got it on my table over here somewhere. So
that's awesome.
yeah, man. Say, but yeah, man, I'm excited for Saturday. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's football. I'm excited for freaking Wednesday. We got football Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You got Colorado at Georgia Tech. I will be watching. I wanted to see how both squads look because I mean Georgia Tech, their King's gone. They got a Mendoza. You bring in DeAndre Hopkins to help out receivers. So is your offense going to be a little bit more pass happy? Is your quarterback going to be a pocket passer, or are you going to have the dual threat issue? How things going to work out for Georgia Tech?
Yeah, and how's that defense gonna fare and stuff? So yeah, I'm with you. I love like I've been the one in my text group that have been counting down from 100 days left to football to week 0. So like on Thursday, I said, because my Niners were playing, I sent it to my group chat and said, "Oh, today's fake football on tonight or preseason," and then I listed all the games I'm excited to watch over the next few days and stuff. So
Yeah,
I eat up ball as much as I can. So
that's me, man. And people, especially being here in Texas, with high school football, and they had some games Thursday with the South Lake Carroll and Jinx game, and Friday they had the Duncanville Allen game, and then last night DeSoto played St. Thomas Aquinas, and that wasn't pretty. Uh, then they had some local games on TV, and just watching some of these high schools, and I've seen some of these high schools play in person, man. It's just a lot of good talent just spread across a metroplex, and it's freaking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you have the amazing talent down there, and I saw that some people posting about all the prices to get into some of these games, or even the media coverage to cover some of those games of having to pay to be a media person. It's like, wow, that is crazy. But that it's football down there, so we don't quite have that here, but we have the best watching experience, where we get to wake up at 9 a.m. and we have Gabe showing up at 9 a.m. and through and it's over by 11 for us and stuff. So I think that I get the West Coast watching experience.
That for me, when I first came to Oregon in 2019, it messed me up because I was like, bro, is game day on at 6 a.m.?
Yes, that is hard.
I was like, game day 6 a.m. I'm like 9 o'clock in this Oklahoma versus Kansas State. Like, what? I was like, okay, I'm not gonna complain. I'm like, this is why people like the West Coast. 9 a.m. is football, and that was the day we played the Washington State game. So of course the game gets over at like 8 o'clock, and then I finally get back to the hotel room. It's like midnight because I was inside the freaking facilities with the team and the parents after the game, and I was like, bro, this is feel like it's been dark forever, but it's only like 11 o'clock. I don't know. Like, I just felt off. I was like, okay, I got to get used to this West Coast time. So then when I came back in 24, it was totally different for me.
Yeah. I will say that game day is the hard thing about the West Coast football. Like when we were playing Penn State and we had game day at Penn State, I go to game day. It's on at 9. I'm like, okay, this is pretty legit. We walk over. We got parked at like 8ish and walked over, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty legit to just get to game day at 9 and not have to get there at 6 in the morning. You have to show up at 5:30 in the morning. So students are out there all night. So,
dude, I went to the game day here when we played Auburn, and they had us at the was it Sun Times Square in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I went to that too. Yeah, I went over to that.
Dude, it was like 80 degrees. When you get there, the sun isn't even up yet. And then you're there for like 10 minutes, and then here comes the sun and the humidity that came with it. It was just humid. I was like, okay, this is fun, but it's a lot of people and it's hot and somebody stinks. Like, okay, I get it. Game day is cool. Yeah, I'm good on that.
And it was too far away from the state. Like, we had to then get back in our cars and drive back to the stadium. I will say one of the coolest things in Texas and stuff was that Texas Live, like having that next to Jerry's World and stuff was amazing to be at, to tailgate there at Texas Live. Before I get air conditioning, I get all this stuff, and then I can walk over to the stadium. That was a really cool experience. I wish they would just had game day there and not try to have game day over at Fort Worth. So,
Well, I think they didn't do it at Texas Live is because it wasn't complete.
okay.
Because they were still doing the construction for like the baseball stadium and stuff like in the in between.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was still like Texas Live was just opening. Now I could see them doing it there. But yeah, that experience, yeah, that was an experience. Yeah, man, it's just feels good to say, football's back and the Ducks play a football game this week and there's other games on. There's some good football. You got Notre Dame and Wisconsin and Lambeau Field, and
You got LSU versus Clemson again, round
that was
2. Like
that was the next one I was going to say, the battle for Death Valley. Who's the real Death Valley?
And a lot of drama with even Dabo on that, right? So if Dabo's doesn't turn things around at Clemson as well, so
Yeah, that because he's on his third quarterback in the last 4 years, 5 years.
yeah. Well, he's had Klubnik. I mean, Klubnik was there for a couple seasons there, 3 seasons. So 5 years, third quarterback in 5 years. Yeah.
So he's got to find his quarterback, his defense, his philosophy, because his offense coordinator at one point is now been the head coach of Virginia for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, and that defense looks legit at Virginia. That was amazing. That was an amazing watch to see what that defense did against CJ Bailey.
And that's contributed to a coach who's been around a national championship program and he knows what it takes for them to win it.
Yeah. So week 1 for Oregon, real quick. I know we talked about a number of things. I have 2 questions for you. So 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
So tight end, are we going for? So Johnson's a starter. Let's say we want to run, have him, have some plays out or run some 12 or even 13 personnel. Are we going Dixon as his backup as a more blocker and occasional pass catcher, or are you going Harrison as more a threat with your personnel on the tight end?
It might be Dixon and the ability to hide the fact that it's going to be a run or pass. I mean, unless Keandre can prove he can block. The only way to find that out is put him in the game situation and see if he see what he does. But I will say I expect us to be in a lot of 13 personnel more so than, or a lot of more 31, I guess.
31,
yeah, 3 receivers, 1 tight end. Like, we're going to be in that a lot because it's a mismatch. You put a safety on Jamar, he's taller. You put a linebacker on Jamar, he's faster. And then you've got 3 really good receivers that we can rotate in with 3 more really good receivers in our quarterback and just pick you apart. And then on top of that, we're going to run you over because we got Jordan Davison, who's a freaking bowling ball at 230. And then if we want, you get tired of us running at you, we're going to run around you. We'll give it to, our boy De'Aaron Hill and let him run around you for a 60-yard touchdown. So that's the ability we have with our offense is we can attack you every facet of the game. We can sideline to sideline. We can go deep. We can go intermediate. We can go short. We can screen pass. We can, run trick plays. We can run at you. We can run around you. So it's pretty much the defense. You pick your poison. What do you want to give up? You want to give up the short routes? Okay, we'll 5-yard hit you to death. Then you start creeping up on the 5-yard hitches. We're going to go behind you.
So then the second question from that, because you went to the 31 personnel. So Of course, Moore, Stewart's, and McClellan. Those are top 3 receivers. I think nobody has any doubts about that. Hooks came over, and is running. I think he's probably going to be number 4. But what do you think for the depth chart of Bear, Hampton, Lott as the next group, and how many snaps between those backups do you think they're going to get?
The beautiful thing about that is you have Hooks that can rotate in with the first 3, and then you have the next 3 are all freshmen.
Right.
And you can rotate, or you go, one series we come out with 4 receivers and just run 4 receivers the whole series. Honestly, snaps, I can't really say. That will depend on the flow of the game. People want to predetermine, how many times we throw the ball this way. If the defense is giving me short stuff to throw, I'm going to take the short stuff. If they're leaving the middle of the field open, I'm going to take the middle of the field. If I'm killing you with deep passes up the sidelines, I'm going to keep taking them. If you're going to give me 7 yards per run, well, eventually you're going to get tired of me getting the first down every two handoffs. So, it just all depends, like the flow of the game. If they're blitzing, if they're dropping, if they're playing man-to-man, if they're trying to disguise, that they're in zone. Because I might go from running concepts that be man-to-man to my zone concepts, to where my receivers are finding windows and sitting down, to where my quarterback's reading, where the safeties are, where the corners are, where the linebackers are, who's the robber. Are they running a cover 1? Are they cover 0? So it just all depends, because they could show me, on film for Boise State, they could be showing cover 2, inverted cover 2. They've been running nothing but cover 2, but they're doing it in different ways. And then in the game now, they're showing and giving cover 3. Okay, now I have to change up what we're calling, because my quarterback's saying, "Hey, coach, they showing cover 3 and not cover 2 like we've been reading."
Yeah, and I think some of their packages are show cover 2, drop cover 6. They do a lot of changes in the zone blitz. We're going to blitz from over here and drop the linemen. So they run some different stuff. The reason why I was asking snaps more than pass routes, because with our receivers historically, if you're not blocking, you're not gonna see the field, right? So one of the greatest things, like as a freshman last year, DeCorian, seeing how much he was into blocking and loved to block, and McClellan was a great blocker last year as well. So that's where I was kind of asking snap count, because I wonder how much those young ones, they're so talented and stuff. You get more snaps on the field, the better you do at blocking. So that's kind of where I was going with that.
No, I'm following. Now, the thing with DeCorian, because I've been watching him since he was a sophomore in high school, is the program he was at. People just talking about his high school program last week. The 2023 Duncanville high school team had 3 5-stars, a slew of 4-stars, and a nice handful of 3-stars. And that program, let me put it this way: when I first got to Dallas, Duncanville wasn't competing at the level that they've been competing at for the last 7-8 years. The head coach at Duncanville was at Dallas Skyline. And before he was at Dallas Skyline, he was at Dallas Lincoln, which is the school Chris Bosh graduated from.
Oh, yeah.
And he took them to state. So Samples is a legend. He's been coaching in Texas for 30 plus years. He got to Duncanville, I want to say 2016, 2017. And ever since he got to Duncanville, they had their quarterback, JJ, is now a running back for the Eagles. Jaquindon Jackson was a quarterback in high school.
Oh, geez.
Now he's a running back. He played. He had some knee injuries. There was a safety. Chris Harris Jr.? Something like that. But it was a safety that was at Duncanville who was a 4-star. His parent was a former NFL player. And then you had the 5-stars that came after that. And they won, they played North Shore for a state championship. North Shore won on a Hail Mary. And then Duncanville finally turned the table with DeCorian and Colin and Keelan. And they won back-to-back state with Caden. That program was built, and that instilled in him that you had to be able to block in order to be on the field. Hell, that was the squad that played Mater Day. Those guys are on that roster when they played Mater Day.
Yeah.
They were sophomore or freshman when they played Mater Day. So, they've seen elite talent. DeCorian Moore went against Devin Sanchez in state championship 3 years in a row. Like, he's seen elite corners. So you had to block those guys in high school. You go for damn sure have to block them in college. You got to block. You want to get on the field. But that's also contributing to the fact that you have the upperclassmen like Evan who's willing to block. And they're willing to make sure, hey, you guys want to play, you got to be willing to block. This is what you do to block. You got to be a blocker if you want to be out here to catch the passes. If you can't, no block, no ball.
Yep. All right. So then from the running backs, our 1A and 1B, right? Our Davidson and Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have running third? We got freshman as in Ball. We got Simeon. What do you think? Who runs Riggs? I mean, I think Riggs is underrated, and been in the program. He was hurt, too much last year. But who do you think is running that ball in that third, fourth spot?
There's another running back I've been hearing that's a freshman too. Not Ball. There's another one. I can't remember his name. But that's the one I've been hearing a lot about.
That he was very physical. You're right. I saw that he was
physical and fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I expect Riggs, if he's healthy, he'll get some touches. Ball for sure. The other freshmen, it just all depends, on the health of Riggs. If he's healthy and can contribute to what we have with Hill and Davidson, and you mix in Ball and you mix in the other freshmen, it's a lot of options for us. Do we come out and split backs? Are we going to mix in that triple option? All these different things, are we going to let Dante run a little bit more? Are we going to – it just all depends on what Lanning and the staff feel like they want to do and how they want to handle this offense, because you have the weapons to pretty much sprinkle in some of everything.
Right. And has Hill progressed in his pass protection enough to where if he's in there on a pass play, he's actually could be a blocker before he goes out and is not just running around every time, because that could tee off the defense of like, oh, he's in there. If it is a pass play, he's going out on a route, and and he may not stay into chip. So,
but this is where you also use him as an advantage as a decoy. Okay, he's lining up in the backfield. Now he's split out like we were splitting out Dak. Put him in the slot. Now, okay, he's in the slot. We don't know if it's a run or a pass because he doesn't always line up in the slot. But when he does line up in the slot, oh, it's a pass. Oh, now it's a run. Oh, now it's a bubble screen. Oh, now it's a screen. Oh, now they're doing this. Now they're doing that. Yeah, because you don't know what we're doing with him in the slot. Now we move him in the backfield. Okay, you don't know if it's run, if it's pass, if it's screen, if it's swing, if it's – so it's the imagination of the offensive coordinator and how you get to use this. Okay, we know he has a deficiency in the pass blocking game.
Yeah.
At the same time, okay, we can use him on a quick block and release, which means just chip, get to the flat, find the edge, help the tackle, get to the flat.
Which is what a lot of NFL running backs have to do anyway. So you chip and get in the flat. You don't have to actually always be a pass protector there. So
unless the quarterback makes that adjustment based off the read he gets, when you slide the
there's
protection.
a blitz coming, you got to safety blitz or middle linebacker blitz. We need you to stay in here and take that hit so I can get this off. Yeah. So split backs, like some of my favorite plays last year with them as being split backs, where we ran a series where all of a sudden Davidson is running lead blocker for Hill. And then we flipped it around and actually had Hill run lead blocker for Davidson in the same series and stuff. Like that was some of the coolest stuff that we hadn't really done as much in the past, and I'd love to see some more of that. I actually, in playing my NCAA, video game, I run that play a lot. Those two plays a lot in the same series and stuff where I'm putting them both in the backfield and I'm running lead block on both. So.
And that's the versatility of the players. Like, when you have players who are versatile, that's able to run and willing to block and willing to, stick their neck out for their brothers. That's why you build that brotherhood, because you want to, if it's somebody that's your brother, you're going to block for them.
Yeah.
And you're going to block to the best of your ability. And you're going to, do everything because Their success is your success. It's a we success. So, hey, he's gonna block for you. Now we flip it. Now you block for him. We did that when I was in high school because we ran actual split backs under center, and we had two dudes line up at the same spot. When we call in right, one dude got it. When we call in left, the other dude got it. And the other guy was the lead blocker, which means you was finna block. You finna block. That's why you out there. And if you can't block, you not finna get the ball because you got to be able to do both.
Yep. So speaking of success, since you mentioned success, what does week 1 success Oregon game at the end of the game, what does it look like for you?
No more than 70 yards rushing, at least 3 quarterback sacks, an interception, and I'll say 170 yards passing from them offensively. That's just defensively.
So that's basically you want below 250 yards total.
Yep.
So below 250 total, 70 rushing, 170. Okay, I can see that. Three sacks, and okay, so that's defensively success. I would say below 300 yards. So keep them below 300 because if we're up, I can see them passing a bunch more and stuff. So
Yeah.
I would try to keep them below 300 yards. Would be where I would want. So I like at least I'd like at least 2 turnovers. Could be interception, fumble. So similar on that. Okay, so that's defensive side. What about offensive side?
Offensively, I need Dante to give me about 270 passing, 3 touchdowns, about 150 yards rushing total, maybe 2 rushing touchdowns,
Okay.
or we have somebody go completely ballistic, and Dier has 5 carries, 150 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, look, I'm looking for at least 500 yards total offense.
Okay.
At least 5 touchdowns, no turnovers, a few punts. I expect a couple of punts because it is the first game of the season. You got to find that continuity. This is your first live game reps. You know, you're gonna have some moments of deer in the headlights and stuff like that.
And we have a new punter and kicker, so we need to make sure that
Yeah, you know, we got that, you know, especially this week playing at home because the next week we go to OK State. And I'm gonna say it now, that place is gonna be rocking because Stillwater can get up for a big game. And it's the first big game under their new head coach and their new quarterback, and they're gonna have some hype.
and Maker's legit. So we even
Yeah.
tried to bring him in before we knew about Dante coming back before we got Riola. So
Yeah, I mean, the dude led the entire college football as a true freshman quarterback in passing stats.
Yeah.
So it's not like the dude has, was just in a gimmick offense. The dude threw for almost 5,000 yards as a freshman.
So you want a couple punts, and do you want a field goal at least? You want to try to attempt a field goal, or
I'll take a field goal. I mean, the thing for me is just getting those reps, getting the experience for the players to understand, okay, this is live now. That way you've seen it and you felt it. This is what it actually feels like. And now you know what to do going forward because the competition is only going to get tougher.
do you have a range of scores then you want the Ducks to score in and what they want them holding? So mine would be I want them to score 40 plus and hold them below 20. So that's where I would like to be. But what about you?
I'll take that. I'll take anything over 40 as far as offensively, and keeping them below 20 is perfect.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is the thing, and people have to understand it's Boise. And Boise, ever since Chris Peterson or even before then, freaking Dan Hawkins, is they have the inept ability. Their offense is going to come out and they're going to do some of the most boring looking formations, but their stuff is going to work like Novocaine.
And then all of a sudden the tight end will leak out when you've been thinking he's been blocking for 15 straight plays. He'll leak out and he'll be wide open. So
exactly. And so that's why for me, I say Boise's going to throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink, because they're going to come out and run some formations. And all of a sudden now it's a receiver pass or a halfback pass or a freaking reverse pass or something. Like, they're setting you up and they're going to keep slowly working it until it boom. Oh, now we're hitting you with the play that it's really set up for. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And as I was saying at the very beginning of the show, is like Lanning beat him, but it was only a 3-point game. Yeah, again, it was with Genty, but the previous 3 coaches have never beat Boise. So I want a good showing here. But I wouldn't take them for granted. So
Then also the quarterback was there, like he was there when we played him 2 years
yeah,
ago. So
this is. I think he started as a freshman. This is his 4th year, I think.
yeah,
Maybe it's
so
3rd year. So he's definitely played a lot, and he's already seen Otson. He's already seen everything. And they're tight ends. I get scared because the questions we have on our defense, right? I know Mixon, played a lot last year, but that the Brett Betcher was there as our linebacker and stuff like that. That is our question mark, and that is like, how are we going to guard these tight ends?
oh yeah. The youth, Dylan Williams, Gavin Nix, uh, those 2 guys are names that have been circulating, and I was hoping they were going to circulate because one we flipped Nix from Miami,
Yep.
On signing day, and then you got Dylan Williams and you sneak him away from a possible going to USC. So these guys are D1 caliber linebackers. We get him in our system. Luckily for us, we also had a guy like Mixon that we developed. We had a guy like Devin Jackson that we developed with Bryce Betker. Now Betker's gone. These guys have put in their time and their worth and the effort to now get their moments. And what do you do with the opportunity? Because you're gonna get it. Mixon's gonna make plays. Jackson's in this position now. He's been in Oregon and played 4 or 5 years, and you've played it at linebacker. Now you should be able to have that speed that everybody's raving about, be full force in the right direction at every time because you've seen so many years of playing football. You should be able to go downhill when you see the run and attack and hit that hole. And that guard shouldn't meet you out 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. That running back shouldn't get past the line of scrimmage because you've seen it. That receiver crossing your face, that quarterback's going to try to throw that crossing route to get a couple yards. Now you can see it, and now you can be there to pick that pass off and take it to the house for a touchdown. Like, this is where the experience comes into play with the speed. Your processing is going to be faster. This is the difference between a linebacker who's been in college for the spring game with the playbook than the guy who's coming from the NFL because he couldn't make it in the last week. That linebacker is in the playbook and he knows it. So now he can hit it full speed because he knows the play and his responsibility. That guy's got to come in and learn the play and the responsibility. That's going to slow that NFL player guy down.
Yeah. And luckily, we don't have to worry about that here at Oregon. So
exactly.
All right, I'm gonna have to bounce. Any thank you. That was fun. That was fun to chat with you today. I mean, it's like when we meet up with. I feel like we just all of a sudden talk ball with each other whenever we see each other.
You already know, man, and I'm always down to talk ball. So I mean, this is another day, man. It's always fun to hop on and chop it up, especially when we talking about the Ducks. I am not sure where our buddy Dale went, but I'm actually finna hop off myself too because I actually got to go to City Hill. I got some plans with some friends, and I'm gonna enjoy my Sunday, and then I got to come back and do laundry. And tomorrow I will be working on getting my hair done, so the next time y'all see me, I won't look as rough with all this hair. It's game week. I gotta go and get myself game week ready. Okay,
yeah,
so It's been a blast, Duck fans. Of course, thank you, Dale. Thank you, Austin Zoo. Thank you, the Oregon Fan Show. As always, y'all have a great day. Go Ducks and peace out.
Go Ducks.